welcome back to the SupaFit Couple Podcast.
What's going on?
It's good to sit down with you again today, Mackenzie. I think we're gonna do these every Thursday. Is that cool?
I love that.
Every Thursday, and we'll post it up. But yeah, again, for anybody new here, before we even get started, why did we start this podcast?
I want to start this podcast because we have so many conversations and perspectives about life that I feel a lot of people don't talk about. And you know, we are both online fitness coaches, and one of the biggest things is fitness has been so instrumental in shaping us in our lives, and we want other people to learn a little bit more about our perspective so that you can grow and expand in your life.
100%.
We never record our conversations, and then, you know, no one else gets to hear this, so why not talk and record it?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty much all the stuff we would tell our clients, but it's naturally between us, and I feel like when our heads come together, we have very different perspectives, which is what I love.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes us mesh too, is like, if we were just the same for everything, like, what would be the joy in that? Like, the difference is where you really get different perspectives. I learn a lot from you.
Absolutely. I feel that I get a lot of questions about how do you have this relationship, you know, how have you been together for 7 years? And I feel like it's gatekeeping if I'm just to keep these conversations that we have to ourselves and not to share with other people. Yeah. So I know you said you had like a scenario you wanted to that tests whether or not I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
So I'm up for it.
So this is my own study that I'm running right now, but I think there's a certain mindset behind somebody that is successful. Okay. There's a certain mindset that people have to be successful. Yeah. I'll get into it after I ask you these questions, but I want to ask you a few questions here, and then we could dive into it together. So the first question I have for you, and this is going to determine whether or not anybody has what it takes to be successful. Okay. And if you answer wrong to any of these, maybe we can shift their mindset here. Okay. But anyways, so if you were lost in a forest, all right, you're on this big hike expedition, you're alone, doesn't matter if you're alone or with somebody else, but let's just say you're on a hike and you get lost in this forest, you don't have, your cell phone's not working, there's no reception, you don't really have a lot of tools on you. If you are lost in this forest, I'm gonna give you two options and you tell me what option you choose. Do you sit there and hope for somebody to come along and save you, or hope for a helicopter to come over and see you and pick you up? Or do you say, let me just keep walking? Like, there's gotta be a way out. What choice do you choose?
I would choose to keep walking and looking for an exit.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not gonna say whether that's right or wrong right now. Okay. But yeah, so you keep walking, try to find your way out. Absolutely.
My reasoning, do you wanna know my reasoning behind that? Or does it matter?
We can dive in the reasoning at the end, okay? Because I'm sure we have a similar perspective to this. Next question I have. You're walking now, okay? And as you're walking, somebody comes along and they're just on a hike. What do? What would you do next if you see somebody else in the woods?
While I'm lost?
While you're lost, what would you do? And this is somebody with like the safari hat on, the glasses. They look like a survival expert, right?
Okay. That means a lot. I think as a woman, my first thing is I don't want anyone to know that I'm lost because it's a survival technique. Like, you want to be open-minded to people not having the worst, but I'm a woman alone, lost in the woods. Yep. I would rather look for an exit.
Let's say it's another woman that you run across.
I mean, it's still something that comes up in my mind, especially if I'm lost in the
But let's say you're really lost and it's life or death. Like, that's what I'm talking about. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I guess I could ask them for help.
So you probably ask them for help and say, like, how am I gonna get out of here?
I think the way I would ask though is I'd be like, hey, where are you headed? Like, hope you're enjoying your hike. So I get an idea of where they're headed, so I know where I need to go, but without maybe necessarily telling them. Now I know you probably want to relate this to fitness or health in some way, but that's my belief because of safety and security being priority to me.
100%. I want us to really think about that because this is actually unlocking new ideas that I have right now. Okay? And so now you talk to this person, let's say they point you the way out, right? On your way out, what are you looking for? Let's say it's gonna be a few days of travel. Are you looking for anything particular in the forest?
Looking to show that I'm going to get out, or looking for what?
Let's say it's gonna take you 2 days to get out. Like, how are you gonna go about it?
Do you mean like how? I'm confused what you're asking.
So are you gonna look for food? Are you gonna look for maybe a shelter for the night?
Okay.
Like what? Are we gonna look for water? What would you look for
what
first?
signs are you looking to escape? Okay.
Yeah, or
work it out.
maybe you look for the right signs to
So
leave.
if I was gonna be stuck in the forest and I knew, okay, it's gonna take me 2 days travel, the first thing that I would do is I would look for supplies for a fire, so dry wood, right? I would also look for food,
Yeah.
right? To be honest, I have no survival
Yeah.
experience, so I don't know if I could tell if something was poisonous or not, so I'd probably do like fish,
Yeah.
because that's easy to do. And
Love how
then
descriptive you
the
get
other
it.
thing is I would look for, I would look for fresh water.
Okay. So resources. You look for resources.
I would look for water, food, and a fire first before I would look for shelter.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So those are the questions I wanted to ask you, and we're gonna dive into it now. And for everybody listening, they're like, dang, is this a fitness podcast? Is this a mindset podcast? We're gonna get into it right now. The things that you need to be successful in life is, one, you need to be relentless, okay? That's number one. So relentlessness means if you are stuck in a hard place, do you sit there and say, I give up, I quit, maybe somebody will come and save me? Or are you like, I'm gonna save my freaking self? Because the only way out of the forest is to start walking. Now, do you know if you're walking in the right direction?
Yeah.
You don't know. But the only way to find out is if you start walking. And so a lot of people, when they get caught up in a hard place, they end up thinking, worrying, wondering, when you would get much further if you just start walking. And even if you walk for 10 hours and you realize, oh, I came to a dead end, I went the wrong way. Well, then we're gonna turn around and walk back the other way. That is what is required of somebody that's successful, is they don't care if they fail, they don't care if it's the right way to do it, they just take massive action, because that's the only way through a hard time in life.
Can I add a different perspective here, slightly?
Yeah, sure, go for
I
it.
agree with being relentless is important.
Yep.
Keeping that consistency, I think that's how I see relentlessness.
Yep.
I believe a lot of people hear the word relentless and they think hustle, hardcore, rah, like pushing till your
Totally.
absolute limit. And I think sometimes that is important and necessary. However, I like to think about it like enjoying the journey. And so those survival things we kind of discussed of like food, shelter, fire, water, those things that you need to get you through that journey or keep you on that journey longer.
Yep.
Is going to be is going to be so helpful for your success, right? So if I am trying to will my way through and I'm like, no, I need to be relentless and make it through with 2 days without water, fire, shelter, or food, that's not going to help me. So I have to use my resources. I have to get scrappy
Totally.
with that. I have to be using my critical thinking skills to know, okay, what do I need to do? How can I pace myself so I'm actually able to get out the other side successfully?
Correct.
And make it that far, right? I feel like that's something so important on your fitness journey too, right? If you're trying to lose 20 pounds, but you're trying to do it keto, you're trying to be like pedal to the metal, like super severe, going to the gym every day, no days off, you're probably gonna burn out really, really quick. Same if you're on this 2-day hiking trip and you're deciding I'm not gonna stop until I get through, and that means I'm not gonna eat and I'm not really gonna drink water. You're gonna start to hallucinate, you're gonna start to be hungry, you're gonna have no energy, your brain fog, and you know.
Well, that's why I asked you the 3 questions, because they all are needed to get out of the forest alive, right? And in this thing called life, we don't know if we're going the right direction or not, so we need all 3 of these to work cohesively together. So I think a better word, and I appreciate that perspective, would be not maybe relentless, which I think it's relentless, but I think maybe massive action taker. You take action.
Yeah, I think
you don't wait for someone to save you, you save yourself.
I think relentless is still a really good word. I just wanted to dive in deeper to what that can look like and how your perspective can shift.
100%.
Because it's not just about willing, it's not just about being relentless, it's about the strategy behind your relentlessness.
Correct.
You can be relentless in the wrong things.
You can go in the wrong direction,
You can
right?
be relentless and end up dying in the forest.
Yes.
Because you didn't use your resources.
I think that was huge that you just said that, because a lot of people think, oh, I just need to work harder, right? For example, I hear it all the time in the DMs when I'm messaging people, if they're like, oh, I need some help with coaching. And they just say, oh, I just need to work harder, man. I just need to work harder. Well, here's why I asked you question number 2. If you walk by somebody that looks like they know what they're doing, and it's between you being successful or not, is your ego going to get in the way saying, I don't need nobody's help? or are you going to ask for help?
Yeah.
And the reason why I ask that is because a lot of people look for shortcuts specifically on their fitness journey. And although a lot of people say there are no shortcuts, there actually is a shortcut. It's called success leaves footprints. The way to find yourself out of the forest is follow the footprints of the person that walked where they knew where they were going.
Yeah, that was the other thing I thought about initially when you asked me that. I thought about I could just follow them to see where they end up, right?
Yeah, not in a creepy way. Right?
Not in a creepy way. But if I was afraid of my safety, right, I could start a conversation with them, whatever it may be.
Boom. And that's the thing, a lot of people maybe, I know you're talking about the wilderness situation, like somebody could kidnap you, but a lot of people also think the same thing when they ask for help from somebody that has already been down that path, that is maybe a mile ahead of where you want to be, and you just follow their footprints. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too scared to ask for help, or I'm too nervous, or what if they think I'm dumb, or what if they try to take advantage of me? Well, what if they're the only reason why you actually make it out alive?
Right.
What if they're the only reason why you get to your goal? And so that's why I asked you number 2, is that number 1, you got to be a massive action taker. You got to start walking. You can't wait for somebody to save you. And number 2, if you're on the journey and you see somebody that knows what they're doing, don't be ashamed to ask them for help.
Yeah.
Because that is the actual shortcut to get to where you want to get to.
I think there's a difference between having trust in someone that you know is an authority or you know knows what they're doing versus asking a random stranger in the wilderness for directions when you don't know who they are. They could be a serial killer, they could be a Boy Scout or a Eagle Scout, whatever. Like, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to your fitness journey, you shouldn't take advice from everyone. You shouldn't ask everyone for directions. Doesn't matter if they're in the gym and if they're fit. They might have done that through restrictions. So you want to make sure you're asking advice from someone who's trusted authority. You want to make sure you're asking advice from someone that you actually look up to and is living a similar lifestyle to what you would like to live. I remember when I started my fitness journey, one of the biggest things for me was I was looking up to a lot of bodybuilders who were restrictive dieting, who weren't eating carbs, who were training every day in the gym. You know what I did? I did those exact things because I thought I wanted that. And I realized I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to have more of a balanced lifestyle. I don't want to eat on a rigid meal plan every single day for the rest of my life. I don't want to train every single day. I love training. Moving my body every day is something that I do, but I don't want it to be to the level where I feel like I can't keep up with it. I have to spend 2 hours every day in the gym 7 days a week.
Be careful who you take advice from, right?
So be careful you take advice from, and actually look for someone that you genuinely feel like fits into that lifestyle or is able to help people do that, right? I think that's the biggest thing. And so many of the clients that I work with online one-on-one, the biggest thing is, that they tell me is, I love that you live the lifestyle that you teach us.
Absolutely.
You're not here to teach us restriction. You're here to help us understand where we're at and what's in our life and what habits we need to instill to see that success, right? So back to the whole direction thing, it really depends on who that individual is, and you need to make sure you're trusting the right people. I don't think you should spend all your time thinking about it. You should definitely take action, but once you have that good feeling or that trust instilled, do not waste time thinking about it because you're just procrastinating your success.
No, and I love the perspective that you added in there because I wasn't even thinking about that perspective. Yeah, if it's just some it looks like a cuckoo person like in the forest, or like they don't look like they know what they're doing, you don't want to follow them because they may lead you down the wrong path, right? And so I 100% agree, is like you want to make sure you can trust, them well enough, and they're going to get you out. You need to have the belief in them that they actually know what they're talking about and they have you in their best interest. And so I want to take a step further. Like you said, the thing with the bodybuilding, right? You're following the bodybuilding. I would say I did the same thing. I would see people that had abs online and I'm like, oh, they say to only eat chicken and spinach. And so that's what I did. And I got abs, but there was a lot of compromises I had to make in my own life. My hormones were lower. I was really food focused. I was starving all the time. And I got abs, but at the expense of really my health, feeling sick, feeling tired all the time. And so there is a better way out, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, just make sure that if you're going to take advice from somebody, that you actually know that you have the belief in them. But the key to this is not letting your ego get in the way and being willing to ask for help, because that is a shortcut, because success leaves footprints.
Yeah. I feel like surrendering your ego is huge. But the other thing, going back to the survival thing, is I don't think it was my ego in particular particularly that made me afraid of asking someone for help.
Yeah, it was your safety, right?
It was my safety. So I feel like I'm trying to think how that would apply, and if you realize how that applies to fitness.
Yeah, so for a lot of people, they've had a coach in the past, they've had a personal trainer in the past, right? They've had somebody that helped them out, that they thought would help them out in the past, and it didn't go according to plan. And because of that, you're basing a past experience,
Right.
and that it's going to be the same now. And so if you were like, everybody in the forest actually helps you, and there's never been a kidnapping in the forest, there's never been somebody that was stabbed in the woods, I know it sounds crazy, you probably wouldn't be thinking that thought based on what has happened to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, Sally said that she hired a coach and he screwed her over, he didn't do anything for her. But if you're like, oh, this is Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter in the forest, and he's helped so many other people and he knows what he's doing, you're gonna believe in him more.
Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of the perspective you want to take there.
I think the biggest thing when you brought this up is I've gone on hikes, but I've never gotten lost myself, and the only stories that I know people getting lost are like women getting killed.
Yeah, 100%.
Or taken, right? Or those scary movies. So I think the biggest thing is, trusting and
Trusting the right person.
Trusting the right person, 100%.
Yeah, and don't listen, and back to what you said, like don't listen to somebody else that lost weight because they did keto diet or they did this extreme method. Like, oh, Johnny started this crazy diet and he lost weight, but then he gained it back a year later. Like, is that really the right way, right?
Yeah,
And
I think,
so you want to follow somebody that they have a consistent track record of always, getting it done right.
Yeah, and not even with their own transformation, but with others. I think that's the biggest thing about coaching too. It's when you've helped hundreds of people transform, you have a level of understanding with different scenarios about what works and what doesn't work, and you have that expertise already under your belt, right? It's one thing for you to like try and trust your friend who looks in decent shape in the gym, but maybe didn't do it the right way, maybe has poor form, maybe he's like really restricting or has a totally different job or lifestyle.
Had different genetics, right?
and different genetics,
lifestyle.
all those things, right? Versus someone who's helped multiple people in a similar situation to you, or a bunch of different situations, including their own testimony, right? And I feel like that is so important to kind of look at. And I remember when I've hired coaches and mentors for business and health and fitness and all of those things, the biggest thing that I've kind of looked for is, do I see a part of me in them, right?
Yeah.
And have they helped other people with what I'm trying to achieve, right?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes to those things, don't waste your time, right? I would waste so much time following 1,000,001 coaches thinking, oh my gosh, I just need to find this exact right one. I just need to do this. And the truth is, the person that you're following, that you agree and you vibe with and you connect with and you've seen the proof, just take action.
Well, that's why I wanted to use this analogy, because if you were truly, like, we don't have forever. When you're in the woods, you have 2 days without water to survive. Mm-hmm. So obviously it sounds extreme in the real world, like, oh, get in shape or chase my dream or say hi to this person, start this relationship, do that. But the reality is like, you don't know how much longer you have. And if somebody walks by you that you know already, you trust them, you're like, they're gonna get me out, why would you say, let me think about it longer? I have this small of a window, and in life, we don't know how big our window is. Don't waste a single freaking day. That's why I love this analogy, because it sounds so obvious, right? It's like, oh, I wouldn't just sit there and wait. I want to find my way out. I'm going to walk. I'm going to ask for help.
Some people actually would just sit there.
And that's why I said this is going to determine whether or not you're successful or not in life. Because the people that just sit there, they're not getting anywhere. Maybe by luck, someone might come across them, but do you really want to live your life based off of luck? Do you really want to live your life based off of a chance? Or do you want to be the chance? Do you want to be the choice? Do you want to be the luck in your life?
Absolutely.
You create the luck. I always say, like, if you never miss a day, you won't miss your lucky day. A lot of people get lucky days all the time, but they're not on their A game. They slept in, they're not in their great state of mind, and guess what? They just missed their lucky day. Like when we met at the gym, I'm bringing us up in our relationship 7 years ago. If I decide, I'm not gonna go to the gym today, I'm kind of tired, I'm exhausted, we never would have met. And I would have missed my lucky day if I wasn't on my A game, if I wasn't dialed in, right? Or we would have met and I would have been having a bad day. And who knows, maybe I was having a bad day that day, I don't even remember. The second you came up, I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's your name? How's it going? You came up to me. But if I was like, gave you a different persona of myself and I was like, it's the worst day ever, we wouldn't be talking this day. So if you're on your A game, you'll never miss your lucky day, right? Mm-hmm. And so I want to get to the third point because we want to also talk about other topics here. But the third thing is being resourceful, right? Where your focus goes, energy flows. And in your mind, there's this thing called our reticular activating system. And what we focus on, we see more of. And so if you're in the forest, right, and you're focusing on what are the resources I need? Let me get some water, let me get some food, let me look for a way out. That's what you're gonna find. But if you're just like, I'm never getting out of here, this stinks, this sucks, right? And this is what people do in life. Oh, I'm going through a hard time right now. You're never gonna see the opportunity in front of you. And there's opportunity in front of you every single day if you decide to look for it.
I agree.
And the best example I'll give you is how your reticular activating system works is when you gotta be very specific of what you want in life. You can't just say, oh, I wanna be healthy. I wanna be in good shape. No, what does that mean? How much weight do you wanna lose? What do you exactly wanna look like? What do you exactly wanna feel like, right? Because how your reticular activating system works is, for example, when I bought my Jeep Wrangler for the first time, the second I wanted a Jeep Wrangler, I would notice them on the street. There's a Jeep Wrangler there. There's a Jeep Wrangler there. And then you're like, were those Jeep Wranglers just pop up out of nowhere? No, they were always driving by me. I just realized them because I was focused on it.
Yeah, it's called priming, right? And
yeah.
So and this is trainable, right? You can train yourself to do anything in your life. It's not about just skill. It's not about just intellect. It's not about just you're passionate about something, genetics, whatever. You can train yourself to be good at anything. The way you do it is through priming, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the reticular activating system comes in, right? And so if you are priming yourself to, I need to look for things that are gonna help me survive.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to be aware of those things, right? You also need to know what those things are, right?
You have to know
if you are saying that I absolutely can't drink alcohol in order to lose weight, you know what's gonna happen? Your brain hears alcohol, alcohol. Now, everywhere you look, you're gonna see people drinking alcohol and you think you're missing out.
Yes.
Right? But if you're like, I am gonna focus in on drinking mocktails when I go out to eat.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna be the best mocktail maker ever, whatever it may be. Every time you go out, every time you go to a friend's house, you're gonna be like, look, that's the menu with mocktails. And you're gonna be primed to that, right?
100%.
And now you're gonna make smarter decisions. It's like that even with the car or anything, right?
Like viewing yourself as, like, I'm a high performing individual, I'm always lucky, I always win. Like, you're gonna identify those opportunities. Everybody loves me, you're always gonna identify those opportunities, right? And so sometimes, like, it's crazy. Like, think about it. Like, the last time you were in a bad mood, everybody was in a bad mood. The last time you were in a bad mood, right? The last time I was in a bad mood, I would see this person over there and like, I'm like, dang, they got some weird energy coming off of them, or this person's yelling at their partner, or this person's doing this, or this person's beeping their car. And when I'm in a good mood, it's like everybody wants to say hi to me. They're like, hey, what's going on? How's it going? And you see somebody picking up litter off the street. You see people being nice to each other. You see people like just walking around like all pumped up. It's like all of a sudden brighter outside all of a sudden. Like, it's because your reticular activating system's thinking about like, it's a great day. It's a great day. And so that's why I asked you that question, because in order to survive through the forest or be successful in life, you gotta look for the success. You gotta be specific, like you said, you gotta know what to look for. And so when you say you wanna get in shape, you don't just say, oh, I wanna get in shape. You gotta know what resources to look for. Mm-hmm. So you gotta say, I wanna be down 30 pounds on the scale by the end of this year. I want to fit into this size jeans. I want to have this definition here. And when I started my fitness journey, I didn't care what the scale said necessarily. I didn't care about any of that, but I said, I had this vision and image in my head. I want to have the lines here. I want to have the abs here. I want my arms to fill this in my shirt sleeve. And every time I was doing a rep in the gym, I was just thinking, oh, the arms are going to fill the shirt sleeve. Yeah, I'm going to take my shirt off and there's going to be abs there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my girlfriend's going to be like, dang, wow, he's amazing. Like, that's my boyfriend, you know? And so I envisioned that every single day I was in the gym, and that's where I got.
For me, like, what started me on my journey, it was less about my physique at first.
Yeah.
And it was more about my mental health. And I remember when I started my journey, my biggest thing was I felt powerless and I felt unimportant.
Yeah.
And so the gym was the space that I felt safe in, that I would go to, and the weights don't lie. They don't gaslight you. They don't tell you you're wrong. They don't gossip about behind your back. They're there and they're just here, neutral, sharing with you where you're currently at, right? So if I can't lift the barbell or I can't lift a 5-pound dumbbell, like the gym is gonna tell me, the weights don't lie, right? And so I know, okay, well, this is where I'm at. And I can either be embarrassed, choosing to be embarrassed, choosing to let that hold me back, or I can take it as, this is where I'm at, and this is a potential situation or opportunity where I can now grow and become better and test myself and prove to myself that I can get stronger, right? And through those repetitions, through that consistency in the gym, I recognize that I have what it takes to feel powerful. And that
improve.
Actually, that power is within you. And one thing I tell my clients is, a lot of them sometimes, you know, we all get in things where maybe we're on vacation, maybe we're on like our period, or maybe something comes up where maybe for a few days or a workout's just not always 100% feeling amazing with PRs and strength, right? That's just part of the process. Not every day is gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
But one thing I say is, it's those days where you feel weak, where you feel powerless or you don't feel strong. Those are the proof days that you actually are. Because we've talked about this with other things in life. I think it's like good versus evil too, where it's like the only way you know you're weak is maybe you think the absence of strength, right? But actually that weakness is just proof that there is strength, right? Because in order for you to get stronger, you have to start somewhere.
100%.
Right?
You have to be weak. You have to feel weak in order to get strong. First time you go to the gym.
And the weakness is that proof that you are strengthening yourself. So instead of focusing in on I'm weak, focus in on this is actually proof that that process of strengthening is happening, and I will be feeling stronger every day. Strong, everyone thinks is like a goal that they need to attain. Strengthening is really the journey and the process that you need to commit to, because that is what makes you strong, quote unquote.
100%.
Is the process of strengthening yourself.
Well, it's, you always have to feel like less than as you're becoming.
Yeah.
And so when you're studying a book, like when I was in university and I was studying a textbook, I kind of felt dumb at first. I'm like, dang, I can't believe I don't know this. But I had to not know it in order to know it. I had to be weak in order to be strong. I had to be impatient at one point in time in order to be patient.
Right.
So when you become aware and you identify your lack, well, then that's the very sign that you're actually on your path of not lacking it. It's the people that aren't aware of it that need to worry. It's the people that are like, oh, I have nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. I'm already as strong as I can be. I'm already as smart as I can be. I'm already there. Those are the people that need to worry, because they don't think that they can get better. If you don't think that you can get better, will you get better?
Here's my hot take on this. I don't think anyone believes that they don't need to get better. I believe people don't think they're worthy enough to be someone who's better. I don't think people settle for average because they actually want to be average. I think people don't think they're worthy of.
Well, they don't know that they don't know that they're average. Like, I think I'm average right now. Why? Because I'm the average of who I am. You see, average is all based on like other factors involved. When there's an average, there's multiple pieces of the puzzle, right? It's not just one thing, right? So I'm not comparing myself to other people. What I am is I'm comparing myself to who I've been. And if I stay who I've always been, then I'm average. But I might not think that I'm average. I might be like, yeah, I'm amazing. No, I'm the average version of me right now. I need to raise my average. I need to go above average, go above the average version of me. In order to do that, I need new habits, I need new mindsets, I need to physically and mentally do something different or think differently than I did yesterday. And that's how I become above average. So every single day I need to earn my above average standard of myself. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm in good shape. Compared to who? Oh, I'm already smart. Compared to who? I'm already doing well for myself in business, finance. Compared to who? You should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday and who you are today. And
Absolutely,
so
so
right now I'm average, but the next decision I make is going to make me above average. And so I'm always fighting to be above average. That's how I like to think. It's all different perspectives, but that's the thing. It's the perspective you have of yourself determines how you act. And that's what the reticular activating system does. That's why I asked you the question, what resources you look for. Because if you're somebody that's going to look for the best resources in life and the success and the way out, you will find it. You will create it.
Yeah, exactly. If you look for reasons or excuses to not go, you won't.
Yeah, you get what you look for. And so when you said that you need to know what to look for, that's kind of the point I wanted to hit, is you need to be very specific on what you want out of life, out of your body, out of your fitness, the character that you want to build in yourself, and you will eventually get there.
Yeah, like if you're a people pleaser and you your way through life and you just say yes to all of these things that disrespect your own boundaries and what you want for your life, you will never get your goals. It doesn't matter if you want the goal. It doesn't mean how badly you want that. If you're not willing to look at your standards, if you're not willing to have those standards and write down what those are and how you're supposed to adhere to those or maintain those, you're not going to reach the goal, right?
Yeah. So setting the standards is very important.
I see it all the time. A lot of people like people please, or a lot of people procrastinate, or they don't follow through, or they do 50% of the work and then on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when you lose and you miss out on reaching that standard that you were trying to set for yourself. You're not actually upholding to those things.
Yeah, being very specific. Yeah. There's a difference between saying I need to work out more and saying I'm going to work out 4 days a week, 45 minutes. These are the exact exercises I'm going to do for this many reps, this many sets, this amount of weight, and I'm scheduled in at 7 p.m. tonight after I get home from work and do what I got to do, right? That's going to actually get you a lot further, right?
Yeah, smart goal.
Yeah, smart goal. But people are like, oh, we learned this in second grade, but you're not implementing it. And that's the problem with also, I'm going to a different path right now, but the school system, people think that knowledge is just about retaining and learning and testing. No, the real test is life. The real test is implementing it in life. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying is a lot of people say, oh, I want to be healthier. If you don't know what that actually means, you'll never be healthier. Because overwhelm will set in. You need to have actionable steps, actionable goals, standards, the words that you said. And that's the difference between a goal and a standard. Is a standard is an action that you live by. A goal is something you aspire to be. I'm setting standards and making sure they match the goals that I have.
Absolutely. It's so important. I think a lot of people don't spend time actually writing down their goals and looking at what that looks like. You know, like, oh, I actually don't know what my goal is. It's like, okay, well, like, let's take some time to just set a goal. Yeah. Maybe your goal doesn't have to be like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe it's, I want to feel a certain way. I want to be a certain way. I want to have certain aspirations. I want to have this career. I want to feel this way in relationships, friendships, whatever it is. And for me, initially, the number one thing was, I don't want to feel powerless anymore. I want to feel in control of my life. I want to take more accountability. I want to be integral. Yeah. Because I don't feel like I'm doing those things.
Yeah, big time.
And so how can I develop those? The easiest way to do that is through taking care of your physical body. You're taking care of what food you put in your body. If you can't respect the food you put into your body, if you can't respect yourself enough to go to the gym and push yourself past discomfort into growth, how do you expect to do anything else? I'm trying to remember.
Woo! All right, so the SD card was full. That's why it ended, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to tell them?
I was just going to tell them that this podcast doesn't have a time limit. It just comes down to whenever an SD card runs out of storage.
Yeah, whenever the SD card runs out of storage, we're all done with our topic. But since we got one more second, I just want to kind of sum it up a little bit. Okay. It's like the purpose of this podcast is like, if you truly want to be successful, and this is what I notice in my most successful clients, you can tell me if you notice this in your most successful clients, is that one, you need to be an action taker. Nothing changes if nothing changes. 2, don't be afraid to ask for help, because at the end of the day, results don't care if you got help or not. Results are results. And 3 is you gotta be resourceful. Use your resources and be focusing on what you want, not on what you don't want.
Yeah, so true. Agreed.
Boom. Done deal. Let's go. Also, happy anniversary this week, officially.
Thank you.
Let's go. We'll see you guys next week.